Hello, it's Marcus here, and I'm here with my good friend and evil overlord, Deus Umbra.
I'm glad to be here.
Really? Had to use that voice, did you?
What? You said evil overlord, so I had to go with my evil overlord voice.
Oh, I thought that was your pedophile voice.
They're about the same.
Oh, well, me and him got together and decided we were going to talk about technology throughout, well, our lifetimes.
Yep.
He's very good at adding to conversations, as you can tell.
Yep. You said something about you wanted to talk about gaming over the generations and things like that, how it's
Yeah.
evolved.
Correct. Because I recently got thinking about when I was a kid and I had my own Nintendo. Except I was so young, I don't know what kind of Nintendo it was. But
Okay. I don't know how you wouldn't know, but okay.
I was a kid and I got rid of this Nintendo years ago and I regret it because I love those simple games I had back then. It was just so much fun. I even had I even had an Atari.
I had a Sega and I hated every game I had for it.
Wow, you're
they were
just a hater.
they were just all incredibly frustrating and annoying. The only ones that I liked, I was no good at. Like Mortal Kombat 2. I had that for the Sega, but I was terrible at it.
Mortal Kombat. I always had to cheat. I would just freeze people midair, taking Sub Zero because I sucked at fighting games. I still do.
Yeah, that's about what I did too. But against the computers back in those games, it was nearly impossible to even do that
True.
because I didn't have anyone to play with. But I remember, I've had plenty of different game consoles over the years. I had a Nintendo 64, I had a Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. My
So,
brother had a Game Gear.
out of all the games you've ever played, which one did you enjoy playing the most?
Enjoy playing the most. That's kind of tough. There were a few that I had when I had an Xbox that I would just play all the time. Um, the two that I'd play the most were the original Fable game, usually the Lost Chapters because it added more content, or it'd be Halo 2. I might have to go with Halo 2. I enjoyed that one like crazy when I was a kid, and that's the one that I probably put the most time into out of any game.
See, anyone who knows me knows that I'm obsessed with Skyrim, but
Yeah.
I actually would not consider that my favorite game. Because back when I'm in my Nintendo, or was it my Sega? One of the two, I had Donkey Kong Country. I think it was Nintendo. I think he belongs to Nintendo.
No, he belongs to Sega. He's always partnering up with Sonic.
Ha 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 ha. Funny. No, but I just loved how funny it was. I would ride swordfish and rhinos. It was so much fun to me. I never played it to complete the game. I played it to have fun, which is the type of game I like.
I think that was on the Super Nintendo.
Amazon
So
supplement.
if you only had one Nintendo, then that would mean that your Nintendo was a Super Nintendo. Because I'm pretty sure Donkey Kong Country was for the Super Nintendo.
Oh, if you are correct, then cool. Now I know.
Pretty sure I am because I know JonTron talked about it once, and when he was talking about Rare.
I, but it's still just amazing to see how games and stuff have changed lately. I
Yeah,
mean, I went from playing those old Atari games, which makes me sound older than I am, but my mom was all, "Hey, you gotta try this game console." It was back when I was a kid, or maybe
I
not when
pl-
she was.
I played an Atari when I was in middle school.
But it was fun. I'd play all these just so simple games. I mean,
Yeah.
I played Dig Dug and
Oh
Pac
God, I love Dig Dug.
Oh
I
my god,
played that so much.
I played that way more than I should have.
I remember
Well,
I also played this one game on the Atari. I don't know what it was called. It was this weird like adventure quest thing where you had to like go around and like collect these different items to do different things. Like there was a dragon. The only way you could kill it is go find a sword and you touch the dragon with it and kill it. And it was
I
this
remember.
weird game and it took forever for me to figure it out because I could only play it so much at a time.
Did you play as like just a little cube?
Uh, I don't remember.
'Cause I remember a game like that. We had to go around looking for keys and other things to get into these castles. I never
Yeah.
got I never got very far because something kept glitching with the thing I was playing it on, and it would never save my progress.
Well, the Atari didn't save your progress.
I had a Atari Flashback, which was
Oh.
sort of a reboot that was supposed
Yeah.
to allow you to save your progress, but mine didn't. Well, at least for that game. I never did like Pong though. Pong was too simple.
I like Pong when you're playing against someone else.
Ah.
When you're playing against a computer, it just seems to know too well of where it's gonna go.
Yeah, but now video games are complicated. People judge it on graphics and all this other crap that back in the day just didn't matter. It's about having fun.
Graphics, graphics, graphics.
Now, pardon my language, but now it just seems like a dick measuring contest.
Yeah, I don't really care about graphics. That's why I like games like Borderlands, where they did like the original Borderlands game. I think it was like a few weeks before it was gonna come out. They had like the graphics for it were gonna look like Call of Duty graphics. You know, hyper realistic. So it was gonna look just like Fallout. Um, and they decided last minute. You know, one of the guys came up with this cool like cell shading idea. Why don't you redo the entire art for the whole game, which we are ready to release in a few weeks, with this new art?
God, that must have been irritating.
Probably was. They had to change all the art for the game on a whim, last minute.
You know, one of the weirdest things about Borderlands 2, I think it was, is how obvious the Easter eggs were. And when you found them, you knew exactly what it was referencing.
Well, I like that. I like knowing, like, oh, I get it. Instead of things where, I remember in Halo 2, there was, like, an Easter egg in one of the multiplayer maps that was supposed to look like one of the prophets. And it was just so obscure. Like, people would show it to me, and I'm like, I don't see it. It doesn't look like a prophet to me. And they're like, no, there's the head, and there's the chair. I'm like, it looks like an ink blot
Profits from what?
from the same game.
Oh, I don't think I ever played that game.
It was in Halo 2, I believe, that
Oh.
it was in the Blood Gulch map for Halo 2.
Now, no hating anybody, but I've never played Halo. I mean, I did once, but
Burn the
man,
heretic!
it was too mainstream for me. I mean, I always liked the more obscure games. It wasn't until I got to
Oh my god.
Skyrim before I started playing the more obvious
Oh my
games.
god. Hipster much?
I never played Call of Duty because, yeah, everyone's doing that.
You're such a hipster. Like, it's too mainstream for me. I can only play indie and obscure things. If it's
I like the
mainstream, I can't touch it because, I'm a hipster.
I like the games that people don't do all the time because I don't know. It's too easy to get them spoiled if you because too much YouTube these days. It's
Well,
constantly there.
well, if you don't look for it, you won't, you know. Like, when I
I,
get a
I
new game, if I don't want to spoil it, I'm not going to watch anything for it.
but I like to watch it to get the premise of the story so I know what to expect. So I'm not like going through too many loops because I'm a wimp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're
And I just pulled my earbud out of my ear, so I don't. Okay,
yeah, you're pretty bad at games.
I am no worse than you.
Yes, you are.
I don't use exploits like you do.
I don't use exploits.
You looked up where to find things in Dark Souls.
Hey, Dark Souls is an obscure game. There are things that people that are like really good at it, like still like, oh my god, I never knew that was there. Oh my god, I never knew that was there. You know,
Yeah.
it's everything in that game was obscure. Even the lore is obscure.
You know what game disappointed me, and I think it disappointed everybody?
What?
Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah, that was a really disappointing one.
I played Brotherhood. It was the first Assassin's Creed game I'd ever played. Actually, I might have played one first, but I never got really far in it.
Yeah, one was not great. It was like a
But
really cool concept, but it was very repetitive because you do like the same 5 missions over and over and over, just in a new place.
yeah, after how disappointing 3 was, I quit paying attention. I don't even know how they continued it without Desmond.
I have no idea either. Oh, and spoiler alert, Desmond dies at the end of Assassin's Creed 3. Pretty sure anyone that cares is already knows that.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get someone that like just started the Assassin's Creed series and then listens to this. They're gonna be like, "Oh my god, you've spoiled the whole series for me."
You think that number 2 was the best?
Oh yes, definitely. Number 2 was the greatest. I wish I could get back to it and finish all the stuff because I never got to finish all the side stuff because I borrowed the game to my brother and I've never gotten it back from him.
Uh,
Yeah, not great.
oh wait, you know a game I wonder if there's anybody who takes seriously if they just fuck around constantly?
What?
Grand Theft Auto.
There are some people that take it seriously, but I don't know any of them personally.
I know back when I had San Andreas on my PlayStation 2, I would just spawn in Hydro Jets and blow people up.
Yeah. That's kind of what I did with every single Grand Theft Auto. Is I'd try to play the story, and after a while, either hit a wall or get bored, and because just the stories always suck, and I just eventually be like, oh, whatever. I'm just gonna start using cheat codes and just messing around and not caring. One of my favorite things to do in Vice City was find a parking structure, go to the very top of it, and just sit there with a sniper rifle shooting civilians in the head, and eventually cops would show up, but they wouldn't go up the thing. So they'd just be standing down there, like, trying to shoot at me or, like, looking at me, and I'd just keep popping them in the head. Eventually, a helicopter would show up, and that would be kind of a challenge, and I could only take down, like, one chopper. I wouldn't have enough ammo to take on a second one.
Yeah,
But,
I hated Vice City actually. It was I don't think I ever even played the first level because I just could not stand the game.
I didn't enjoy any of the Grand Theft Autos, really. I
But,
I just
but
screwed
then,
around a bunch. I screwed around a lot with Vice City just because it was easy enough to be able to like just jump in and start messing around. I had San Andreas, but I got glitched out in the first mission, and it would just I would get on the bike and be immediately ran over, and then it would park on top of me, and I couldn't get up, or it would park the car would park on top of the bike I'm supposed to use.
oh, I heard this rumor. Don't know when I heard it that they're gonna remake San Andreas for the new consoles.
I hadn't heard that, but I know you can download San Andreas for Xbox 360.
Oh my god, why haven't I done that yet?
Yeah, I just saw it the other day. This like download San Andreas and it popped up on my dashboard thing.
But I had so many cheat codes memorized it wasn't even funny. I could give myself money and armor and fix my health, infinite ammo. Could turn everyone into a prostitute. Or the guys should be pimps, but who cares?
The only game I had the cheat codes memorized for was Morrowind, and that one just had cheat codes to like refill your health and mana and stamina. Luckily, you'd only have to input it once, and then whenever you held down, I think it was either the black button or white button, it would just start refilling your health. Though you could only have one setup at a time.
Black button or white button?
Yeah, on like original Xbox.
Oh, I never really messed with the original Xbox.
I had an original Xbox and I loved it.
What was the GameCube predecessor to?
The GameCube?
Yeah.
Uh, the thing that came after GameCube is Wii.
Oh, that was a Nintendo thing?
Yeah.
Huh. I was highly disappointed by that console.
I only played like Super Smash Brothers on it. That was about it.
I
I
played the
I had a GameCube at one point, but I had so few games for it that I had one that was called like Cell Damage, and I loved it. It was this crazy cartoony car battle game where like you'd use like giant saw blades and things like that, and it just had like such cartoony deaths and things like that, and it was awesome.
but yeah, you know what system was an utter failure, and I unfortunately was stupid enough to buy into it and get one. And
Uh, the what is it called? The
Hyperscan.
I was thinking like the Uvu or Uwu or whatever it's
No,
called.
I when I saw the Hyperscan, I just thought it was so awesome. Just scan a card and get more stuff. I just thought it was so cool until I
Yeah,
got one and realized they don't even give you the cards needed to finish the game. It's like,
yeah,
really?
yeah. I had one too. That thing really did suck. I think that was like the only system I've ever felt stupid about buying or getting for Christmas at least, because I was a kid. I didn't have money.
So what do you think about the current generation of consoles, or whatever they're calling this Xbox One and PS4?
Um, I well, obviously they have their issues when they start out, and everyone's probably gonna hate me for this, but I'm an Xbox supporter. I'm gonna be getting an Xbox One when I have the money. Uh, that is a certainty. I want the Xbox One, and it's not because I hate PS4 or hate PlayStation or whatever. It's just Xbox has better exclusives. It was the same way with the PS3. Xbox had better exclusives. I don't do racing games, which was like the majority of the exclusives for the PlayStation was lots of like racing and sports stuff. And I've looked at a list of like PlayStation 3 exclusives, and I found like 4 games I thought looked good.
Four.
Yeah. Out of all the exclusives that ever came out on the PS3, and it was this big list of like 200 games, I found 4 that looked good.
You know, the only reason I would ever buy a PlayStation, unless they actually have improved it. I mean, I love my PS2 and all, but just never bought into getting a PS3. I went for the Xbox 360.
Same here.
But God of War, that was a fun game, and I wanted to continue playing it, but I think the one I had was the last one they did for PS2.
I never got into God of War. I don't like hack and slash games. I get bored really easily with them.
I just like turning people to stone with Medusa's head.
Yeah, I never played it, but I watched my brother play it. And I just kind of knew I wasn't going to enjoy it if I played it, because I was like, I don't like that kind of game. It's just too boring for me. It'll be fun for a little while, and then I'll be like, this is really repetitive.
Yeah, well,
That's why I never beat Bayonetta. I got through like the first 2 levels, and I was just like, I'm bored.
yeah, well, when it comes to these current generations, as I was saying, man, I know we're jumping around a lot, but when it comes to these current generations, I keep hearing mixed things. Some people say that the PS4 sucks and you need to get an Xbox. Yet I hear that the Xbox One has done all these things wrong and you need to get a PS4. It's like
Yeah,
I want to find an unbiased person to
that's
give me an honest rundown.
that's the fan wars. They're honestly, I am not 100% unbiased, but I am not a fanboy in either direction. Because a lot of what you hear are fanboys that are like, oh my god, this one sucks, but this one's amazing, and it can never do anything wrong, and the other one could do nothing good.
Whenever Xbox One was originally announced, it sucked.
Oh yeah, I was still interested because I was like, okay, whatever. It's gonna have great exclusives. I know it will. And that was like all I cared about. I was like, whatever. I know it's gonna have good games eventually. And
No,
I'm
it's
right. I was totally right. They got like Sunset Overdrive, Lords of the Fallen,
oh
things
my
like
god,
that.
Sunset Overdrive seems like it's just gonna be the funnest game ever.
I know, and it reminds me of Crackdown, and I loved Crackdown so much. Well, at least Crackdown 2. Crackdown 1 was a little boring. Well, actually, both of them, like, they're great in the beginning, and then by the end, it's like, I've been doing the same thing over and over for so long. I'm kind of sick of it.
So how much longer do you think it'll take them before they do virtual reality for consoles?
Oh, probably not too long. I think
I
once
mean,
the, like, even the PS4 is already working on it.
really?
Yeah, PS4 already announced their own virtual reality headset.
Tell Xbox to get on.
I think Xbox will probably do something more like, yeah, we're just gonna partner with Oculus and make it so that it's compatible with the Xbox instead of making you buy a whole new one just for our console.
I always wondered why um Oculus sold itself to Facebook. Because I was just thinking, what in the world does Facebook have to do with gaming? But I guess in the long run, it's a good idea if Facebook is this huge company and can afford to keep, updating this thing, keep working on it.
Yeah, it's really gonna help push it ahead. And I remember when I first heard about that, I wasn't upset at all. I was just like, oh, it's cool, good for them. That means we're probably gonna get it like a couple years ahead of schedule.
And we seem to be. I mean,
Yeah.
oh my god, do you see that one really stupid virtual reality thing that I saw it on the Machinima ETC channel?
Oh, do you mean that like giant head thing?
Yeah, that thing.
The thing where it's like, I remember on the actual Machinima channel where they actually like talked about the specs of it. It weighs over a pound.
You know what I was thinking would be really fun to do or kind of cool? You
What?
know how Google has a Street View thing?
Yeah.
Do that, but with Oculus Rift.
Oh, so you could like turn your head around and like look around the street that you're on.
Yeah, look up, down, Well, I just thought that would be so cool.
Well, you probably could do that after it comes out because it's all they'd have to do is just make a thing where it's like because the program they already have allows you to like look around, like rotate it around through the mouse. So you just change it so the screen is on, the headset and make it so you can control that with turning your head.
I think that'd be so fun. Oh, did you see that 360 camera they have?
Yes, I did.
I can think of so many instances, definitely for gaming. Because yes,
Yeah,
I'm stealing that from the show, but
you're
you've got
you're
to agree.
you steal so many things. Why do you
Well,
always steal other people's ideas?
it's not
Even
my fault that these people make good points.
well, yeah, we can't hold it against them for being good at their jobs and making good points and getting to it on time instead of, reporting on it like several days later or something like that.
I mean, I subscribe to Machinima ETC for the weird news part because I just find it interesting to see all the stupid things people are doing in the world.
Yeah, the weekly weird news. You gotta love
But
it.
but now I've been watching that Tech Tuesday, whatever they call it,
Yep.
and it seems pretty interesting to keep up to date and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Just so many interesting things. But though that one belt thing, the self-adjusting belt, it's just kind of like why?
I can just see that going horribly wrong, or somebody using it for murder.
Yeah, man, you're gonna take the same thing they said, aren't you?
Now all I can picture is somebody putting it around somebody's neck to choke them out. That's what I'm picturing. Oh, you're thinking about the stupid, what was it, the waist chopping them in half or something?
Yeah.
I didn't really think that's really realistic because they basically aren't much of a sensitive to realize when it's getting too tight.
Yeah, but he's saying like if it went haywire.
Oh, yeah, I guess you've got a point. Oh, they have a point, but I was more focused on the other tech parts. What do you think about smartwatches?
I don't see the point, quite frankly. I mean, like, when smartphones came out, I was like, okay, yeah, I could see the point in like wanting to like check Facebook or whatever from anywhere. And then tablets came around, and I was like, I don't see the point.
Yet you got one.
I got one because I didn't have a smartphone. I was I thought I was like I either want a smartphone or I want a tablet. I don't need both, and I ended up getting a tablet from my dad, and I was like, okay, cool. I guess I'm going with a tablet then.
I have both, and I use them both.
I barely use my tablet. I used it a lot today, though. I was using it for a couple hours straight today.
Oh, I've been using it a lot lately, being out of work and all. Until I go back, I have no life. So I've been playing a lot of stupid games on it.
Yeah, there's a lot of dumb games on those things. There's some good ones. Some are pretty fun. Some are really interesting. There was one that I really liked. It was this like it was sort of like one of those games where like you build a base and you train up a bunch of soldiers, things like that. But instead of it being like real time battles, it was turn based, and you could only use so many at a time against each other because you got like
I
so many slots you could fill. And it was really cool. I played it for a long time, but eventually got to the point where it was like the missions are taking like a week for me to finish.
You know the
And
type of game. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
okay, go ahead.
No, you're saying the type of game I've always wanted to see.
What?
Well, I'm not a huge fan of the turn-based gaming type
Mm-hmm.
deal. I'm
Yep.
more of give me full control of whatever character I'm fighting with. So, I've always wanted a Pokemon game where it's like you send Pikachu out, you just took control of Pikachu and got to fight as him. You didn't need to say Pikachu, use Thunder Shock. You just got to press the button and use Thunder Shock.
That'd be kind of cool. Like you get thrown into like an arena against theirs, and you get to like run around and try to dodge their attacks, and
Yeah,
while at the same time trying to like throw your attacks at them, kind of like how the show is instead of the turn-based back and forth of the games.
exactly.
That'd be interesting to see.
I mean, that's the only reason I've never really played a Pokemon game because it's just like, I mean, it's got some good story behind it if you pay attention. It's a good way to pass some time, but just not my type of game.
I've never beaten a Pokemon game. I played a Pokemon mod once. I've played Pokemon Blue, and I think I played Pokemon Red once because my brother had Red and I had Blue. I played Pokemon Yellow. I played Silver. I also played Crystal, and I think that's about all I've played. But every single one I've never. Oh, I also played Pokemon Stadium for the Nintendo 64, but none of them have I ever beaten it. And that's because with the normal games, the thing I can't stand is the grinding. I hate just sitting there and doing like generic fight after generic fight. You're not making any like story progress. You're just trying to level up, and you're spending like an hour just doing fights against the same Pokemon over and over and over. And just it's so boring that eventually I just put it down and like forget about it for a few months. I might eventually come back to it. I might not. Usually when I come back though, I want to start fresh. So I've never actually beaten it. I got close once as a kid, though. I was playing Pokemon Yellow, and I made it all the way to the Elite Four, and I couldn't beat him. So my
But
brother was like, okay, let me look at your game. He's like, okay, you haven't even looked at where any of the legendary Pokemon are. I was like, there's legendary Pokemon? He's like, yeah, here, let me just go get all the legendaries for you. And next thing I know, when I look at the game again, I have Mewtwo and all of the legendary birds, and I'm like, oh my god. So I just went to the Elite Four and just burned through it, but I by the time I'd reach Gary, since I wasn't smart enough to like switch out Pokemon whenever I'd be up against one of like an opposite type, by the time I got to him, I had one Pokemon left. And I think it was just like a Pikachu or something like that, and I'd lose because he has six and I have one.
How do you waste the legendary Pokemon away? Seriously.
I was like, I don't even remember how old I was. I wasn't even in school yet. That's how young I was. And I just wasn't very smart about it. So eventually I had my brother do it for me. So I personally have never beaten one.
Wow.
But I have gotten to the Elite Four a couple times. But every time I hit that point and I'm like, crap, I need to grind for a few days. And then I put it down and forget about it because of that fact.
Well, back to the virtual reality thing. You know, one aspect of it that I think is going to be horribly unsafe. It's going to result in a lot of broken stuff.
What?
When they give you gloves that allow you to, move your character's hands,
Yeah.
I can see that going horribly.
Yeah, that could be.
Because you've got the thing on your face, so you can't see where your hands are.
Yep.
So you just, like, someone walks in front of you, and you just end up punching them in the face. It's like, sorry. Like, I can feel the things I hit. Cool, and just start beating up this person. You just think you're playing the game.
I'm pretty sure they're gonna yell "ow." They're not gonna just be just be totally silent and letting you use them like a punching bag.
Either way, I just see this horribly going wrong.
All I can imagine is just when you said gloves. All I could think about was that one Japanese like the boob feeling simulator.
Oh God, I remember that.
Yeah, that's all I could think of. And it's like, so I started, instead of going for like accidents happening where you accidentally punch someone, I was thinking of people using it for like the worst things.
Once virtual reality is perfected, porn will become very interesting.
You're never gonna leave the bedroom. People aren't gonna see you for months at a time. You'll finally come out and you look like Quagmire when he discovered internet porn. You're gonna have one really huge arm and the other one's gonna be really spindly, and you're gonna look like you haven't showered in a month. Yeah, virtual reality, that will be an interesting one. I've always seen, like, in like cartoons, stuff like that, they'd always show like these weird virtual reality things. Like, I remember in Futurama, they had one where like they were using their hands as guns and like running around in this huge area trying to find each other.
Oh my God, I thought that would be awesome if that's how virtual reality would end up working.
Yeah, I thought that was like the
Just
coolest thing.
to go around in the internet.
Yeah, and remember there's that one in American Dad, where he like goes over to his half brother's place or whatever, and they.
Oh, Steve uses his penis as the gun.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I was like, it's just like that Robot Chicken joke with Green Lantern, where he like got his hands cut off or whatever, so he has to put his ring on his penis.
Oh God, I saw that. I need a life. I'm starting to know the things you're referencing.
Well, I'm referencing things that a lot of people have seen.
I know, but I used to have a life and not know this crap.
Well, to some people, that they might think you don't have a life if you don't understand any of the pop culture references. Because, for most people these days, a life is like you need to know everything that's going on with all the celebrities and all the hot TV shows. And if you don't
Oh,
watch Game of Thrones and The Walking Dead and Keeping Up with the Kardashians and blah, 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 and I don't care.
oh my God, random tangent time. I can't stand people who obsess over celebrities.
I think it's just stupid. I'm like, why? I don't even want to hear about what's going on in my neighbor's life.
But it's like the nude picture scandals. It's like a lot of famous people, I mean non-famous people take nudes too. And those go around, but never made as big a deal as like, oh my God, Kim Kardashian took a picture of her butt and posted it on Twitter. It's like, this is Kim Kardashian. May not know much about her, but the little I do know says this is exactly something she would do.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's like, do you have a life, people? And anyone who watches this, who does this, I don't care if I'm pissing you off right now.
You could just, we give you permission at this point to just dislike the video and just go screw yourself, basically. No, don't. We don't
And,
want to
and
know about you like doing horrific things to yourselves that while looking at pictures of Kim Kardashian and what other Justin Bieber and what other celebrities you like to do disgusting things while looking at pictures at.
oh my god, you know there's one celebrity that I hate so much, but for some reason I find the need. When it was like a story about him, I have to see it just to see what kind of shit he's doing now.
Justin Bieber.
Yes, I hate him. I hate everything about him. It's like every time I hear about him, he just seems to be more of a douche.
Yeah, it's just I haven't heard anything in a long time, but I remember when I was hearing just so many, it was just nuts what you'd hear.
I mean, the most recent thing I heard was about him bragging about taking Selena Gomez's virginity. It's like, really, dude? That's just do you have manners? Do you have a conscience? Who does that?
I don't believe him. I don't think that anyone could have sex with him because I'm one of the people that loves all those jokes about like it doesn't matter whether you call him a girl or a boy, no one's ever gonna get into his pants to find out one way or another, or like there's no reason to come up with a word for having sex with Justin Bieber because it'll never happen, and jokes like that because it's like he's just so stupid. It's just retarded. Like, didn't he try to start a fight with who was it? It was some other celebrity. He tried to start a fight with him, and then as soon as the guy like came at him like he was gonna punch him, Justin Bieber ran out of the restaurant.
Oh my god, I think I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, and then immediately after he leaves the restaurant, he starts like tweeting horrible stuff about him and like posting pictures and things like that, and then immediately deleting them after before he can see it. Because he doesn't want to get hit because he's a little baby.
Oh my god, what was that thing I heard? Uh, oh yeah, the whole drunk driving or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
It was like people made this big deal because he got arrested for drunk driving or evading arrest or something, and he got charged with this minor crime. It was like I think it was just for the drunk driving or something. But it's like the guy tested positive for drugs. He evaded arrest. I don't hear what drugs it are. There are some I consider worse than others. We're not getting into that. But it's like, seriously, dude, how do you get away with this shit? It's like, we're going to charge you with drunk driving. But I ran from the cops for like half an hour. You're famous, we don't care.
That's pretty much what it is. Fame over anyone that's famous can get away with like just about anything.
I want to become famous. I can just start beating people up. It's like I'm famous. I'll autograph your face, and then you let me go.
Yeah, that kind of happens. There was one celebrity I heard about. I can't remember who. Uh, like, I really wish I could remember who it was, but someone like he was going to like gay massage parlors or like massage parlors, and he would specifically ask for men to give him massages, and then he'd be like trying to like grab their junk and stuff like that while they were giving him a massage, and they sued him for sexual harassment.
Okay.
And I don't know what came of it, but I heard about it because of this one comedian I watched, and he was like the epitome of what we're talking about with like letting a celebrity go. He was like, that man could like stomp on my nuts repeatedly after raping me, and I still, if he at least gave me an autograph, would not press charges. Even if he didn't give me an autograph, I don't think I could do it.
You know, another thing this makes me think of, and I'm sort of stealing this from somewhere else, but again, it's just people who make good points. It's like that whole incident with that guy Sam Pepper. I think I've talked to you about it before, and you don't really remember it.
I remember the Sam Pepper thing.
Oh, you do well. It's like for the longest time, people would make a big deal about this. Suddenly, no one talks about it. No, you bring up Sam Pepper, and people are just like, "Who?"
Yep. That's our world today. People these days have such short attention spans. Like a video will be like a couple of months old, and people are like, "Oh my god, that is so old." That's like what 2004. It's like 2 months ago. The same thing. No, it's not. I remember movies from 2004 better than I do some stuff from more recently. Like I'll think of like a movie like when did that come out? Like there are movies like there's I can never remember what year a movie came out because I'll watch it and then like 2 years later be like, didn't that movie come out like sometime this year or something like that?
I remember watching Jurassic Park in theaters, and due to how vividly I remember watching it, and even Godzilla, that really crappy version, I remember
I
it so vividly that I thought it must have been after 2000 something when I watched it. Nope, back in the 1990s. It's like, how do I remember this?
I never watched the Jurassic Park movies. I remember I had one of them on VHS and I watched like half of it and I could only get through about half because I'd end up like falling asleep or stop paying attention and like go do something else or something like that. I had a lot of movies on VHS. I had one that was like um, Mars abducts Santa or something like that. This weird Christmas movie where like aliens from Mars abduct Santa.
Oh, there's some really weird Christmas movies out there.
You're telling me. Yeah,
You know,
there's so many weird movies out there too.
I don't like many holidays.
Yeah, yeah, I know you don't.
No, it's not for these things. I mean, I love Thanksgiving, not Thanksgiving. I mean, Thanksgiving is cool. Now you get to pick out, see family.
Yeah, I don't like Thanksgiving. I don't care about the picking out because usually the food they serve at Thanksgiving I either don't like or I'm not a big fan of it, so I usually end up eating less than normal on Thanksgiving. And I don't like seeing family, that's for sure.
Nah, but my favorite holiday out of all of them is Halloween because all these other holidays are trying to be happy and cheery and bright and colorful. Halloween, on the other hand, says, "Fuck it, I'm being scary." I just, it's the holiday that does not follow the norm. For a while, I liked Christmas. You know, as a kid, it's fun. You believe in Santa Claus and all that. Spoiler alert, children. Santa is not real.
Hey now. Hey now. This is what
Sorry.
dreams are made of. No, I'm kidding. Um, some people still, I know people that still believe in Santa, and there's if you go by like Christian logic, yeah, or religious people logic, you can't prove he doesn't exist.
There is a lot about religion I could talk about, but don't
And
think this is the right time or place.
yeah, so I'll go back to the Santa thing. He like Saint Nicholas did exist.
Yeah, that he did. Technically, so did Jesus. So I mean, even Jewish people acknowledge he existed. He's a not a religious figure, a historical figure. Man
Mm.
existed. Whether you believe he was the Messiah or not, that's your own personal belief. But the guy's in history books, unless the Catholic Church has influenced our history books, then the guy existed.
Well, they might have, but um,
No, they don't have the same power that Disney has.
what?
But Disney can just do whatever it goddamn feels like.
Okay.
Disney owns Marvel now. It owns Star Wars, which were the only things I cared about as children.
As
As a child.
children, you were multiple kids at one time. Oh man, your parents must have just been like unable to handle you if you were multiple kids at once.
Yeah, eventually I fused together, but I started off like 18 little things every year. one of me would one would fuse into the other. When I was 18, I finally became one person.
But you still weren't a man.
Shut up. But no, think about it. Disney and other things like that are so rich. There could be this huge tragic thing at Disney World. Disney could just pay the news not to report on it because that's how things
Well,
get on the news. They
there
are
was
paid
there was a
to.
guy that died at Disney World like last year or something like that. Didn't you hear
There
about
was
it?
no.
Some some retarded teenager. He had his head came off, and it was one of the famous roller coasters there, and he lost his head. And it wasn't because he stood up in it or something like that. His hat flew off, and after he got off, he like jumped over the fences and stuff like that. And people kept telling him, "You can't do that. It's not safe." And he climbed up the like bars or whatever to get his hat, and it was on the track. He got up there, got his hat right as the the ride was coming back around, and it took his head clean off. Guess he
He
didn't
was
really.
an idiot. I
I
mean,
get well. He doesn't need the hat anymore. I totally stole that joke, but still, it's just like that was in the news, but it wasn't like major news because it wasn't like a horrible tragedy happened as one of the rides broke down and killed 8 people or something like that. No, it was some idiot was like, "I want my hat." And they were like, "We can get it for you later." I want it now. We can shut, when the ride is shut down after the park closes, we can get it and bring it to you. No, I want my hat now. I'm going up there. No, 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 sir, you can't do that. I'm going up there. Because,
you know that.
teenagers these days are freaking retards.
That reminds me of something. You know how people freak out if you use retard as an insult?
Well, some people pretty much are freaking retarded, and people that are, actually mentally retarded or whatever it's called. I don't call them retarded. I call them nice.
No, it's funny because the people who are really sensitive about that, I would say to refer to whether you want to call it retarded, mentally challenged, whatever. I just want you to call it mentally challenged. So it's like, so why can't I call things retarded? I mean, you don't use that to describe these people anymore, so it's just a word floating out there now.
Yeah.
Why, why can't they use this as an insult? Doesn't mean anything anymore, apparently.
It's kind of like calling things gay. I've actually heard of many, like, guys that are, like, straight out gay, and they call things gay, too. Like, "Oh my god, that is so gay." And they mean it as, like, an insult. You know, when they are using it like that, they don't care. And when other people use it like that, I don't think they really care that much either. I've never heard of someone get super upset over it unless they were like those people that get upset over like using retarded and things like that.
Okay, I was talking to a gay guy the other day from New Mexico,
Uh-huh.
um, and he was telling me how his tablet. I will not say the brand because I refuse to give those big companies recognition.
Okay.
So I sound like a hipster, but I'm really not. But I can't. This just irritate me. But no, so he's telling me how his tablet was gay, and it's just like, so it was rainbow colored? He was like, so he was just like, not what I meant.
uh, I'm surprised you didn't get at least a little offended at that, but yeah, I call things gay, and I'll say it right now. I'm bisexual. I don't care. Like people make a gay joke at me, and I'm like, I don't care. I'm bisexual. I like both. That doesn't work on me. And it's hilarious when like people like start like making gay jokes at you, thinking you're straight to like make you angry and things like that. You're just like, I'm bi. They immediately are. They just shut their mouths because it's not like they can use it to actually insult you, and they can't use it to rile you up because you don't care in the riling it up area, and they can't use it as an insult because you're not actually like gay. So it's like there's nothing they can do, and they just
You
walk
know,
away. I did that so many times while I was going to this one high school. People would like start making a gay joke at me, and I'd be like, "I'm bi," and they just shut up and walk away.
quickly I want to say that I have a video up about gayness and whatnot, but I'm gonna re-upload it. I'm gonna do a new recording because I was half asleep and I did this. So yeah,
Didn't you tell me
I
it was like 4 in the morning when you
it
recorded that?
was like 4 in the morning. I was just like, I gotta do this now. I don't care if I can't form a complete sentence. It's happening.
I don't. I'm okay to drive. Give me my
But
keys.
I wasn't drunk.
I already have them.
I was just so tired. So I'm gonna re-record this and
Well,
try
actually,
again.
when you, it's, what was it? Something about like when people are extremely tired, they act similarly to someone that's drunk.
It's actually more dangerous to drive tired than drive drunk.
Yeah, and
But no drunk driving. It's still dangerous.
yeah, and I know it's 5 times more dangerous to text and drive than it is to be driving drunk.
But no, I was sorry. There's one thing I've been ashamed to admit, but there was a time I hated bi people. I guess I misunderstood it. I don't know.
You were
It's,
just like, "What are you? What are you?"
well, I didn't understand what's going on here. I mean,
I don't understand. Should I have this thing in my pants right now or not?
no, but bi people used to irritate me, which says some stuff if talking. Yeah, but
You couldn't understand the concept of being in the middle. You were like, it has to be one or the other, right?
yeah, exactly. It's like I just thought bi people were just greedy. A couple of years later, after I, thought this, eventually come to realize some things and came to understand it. It's not that people are greedy; it's just you like both.
Yeah. That's kind of the definition of bisexual, is you like both.
I always just thought people were greedy and there's like, I can't settle with just a guy or just a girl. I need both because I need that thing in my pants touched. Don't care who does it.
I never once thought that, quite frankly.
But I went through this phase in my life. Never hated gay people or lesbians, but bi people just irritated me.
Feel like I don't hate the extreme of either side, but I hate people in the middle.
But
Make up
now,
your mind.
recently it's occurred to me, I don't think anybody is truly one or the other. Because if you think about a girl can admit another girl is pretty. I mean, if you don't find a girl attractive, then you look at a girl, you just think, okay, that's a person. Have no opinion how they look.
Well, I've heard of people that will like gay guys that like look at a woman and they're like no interest at all. I can see that she's, I guess, pretty, but she just doesn't do anything for me.
But
And
well, okay, in the most part, people are never all like one or the other. Because if you can see that a girl is pretty without having to like do the math to figure out what the brain thinks is pretty, then part of your brain is able to find that gender attractive. I mean, you may not never act on it, you might not be sexually interested in it, but part of your brain is able to find that attractive for you to even come to the conclusion that they are. And guys, you do it too.
yeah, um, I don't because I cannot comprehend how a guy can be good looking. I can understand, like I can look at like celebrities and I'm like they're okay, I guess they don't look ugly, and then I'll look at like a guy that's like ugly and that I know is ugly, but if a guy isn't ugly, then I can't tell if he's attractive or not.
So you're saying I'm ugly?
No, I can't tell with you. Um, yeah, that thing with like gay people like not like just looking at him, it's like does nothing for me. I remember I watched a comedian recently named Ron White, I think his name was, and he had a gay friend, and he had like never said anything about it. He knew he was gay the whole time, but he had never said anything about it. And one time he was really drunk, hanging out with him, and some really hot girl walked past them. He's like, "So you're telling me that you have no interest in screwing her?" And he's like, "Nope, not at all." She's like,
Um,
"So you're telling me that you'd rather screw me than her?" And he's like, "Not by much."
you might want to take a look at the time, our recording time.
Yeah, we're starting to get close. We should probably start wrapping it up.
Yeah, we probably should. Um,
Anything we should get back to? We were talking. We started off talking about games and technology. So anything you feel like we should include?
Go back to the old style of gaming. At least on occasion, games are just for fun.
Well, people are still doing that. Like Sunset Overdrive, they made that just to be fun. They literally they had a choice between making it so the graphics would look better or making it so it run better, and they downgraded the graphics to make it run better.
I
How
just,
great is that? And
what-
I was just like proof that graphics do not matter. A game doesn't need to look good; it just needs to be fun.
well, to a certain degree, I'm a graphics whore.
I'm I'm a I'm a bit of a graphics snob when it comes to like games that are trying to look realistic. If it looks like something from like 5 years ago with like the realism graphics, then I am snobbish about it because I'm like, you're trying to look realistic. Games of this generation look 5 times more realistic than yours, and that thing looks like it should have come out like 5 years ago. Why does it look so bad? But when they're
Now
not
it's like,
trying to look realistic or like not trying super hard, then I don't care.
no, Skyrim is the first Elder Scrolls game I ever played,
Hmm.
and I know that people say Morrowind was the best. I mean, to me, it looks overly complicated, but I'm an idiot, so yeah. But no, I can't go
Yes,
back
you
to it.
are. I have to agree with you there.
No, but I can't go back to it. It's like I know it's a good game, but since for I guess I rate graphics by the series. So if suddenly the next Grand Theft Auto came out and it had San Andreas graphics, couldn't do it because I'd be like, you just took a step backwards. Which means I have to play games in order if the graphics are different in the games. Otherwise, my brain just like, what the fuck?
For me, I can't backtrack either, but it's not for the reason of graphics. I can't backtrack because I can't handle like losing things. Like going from like Halo 2 back to Halo 1 is hard because it's like Halo 2 introduced so many things: hijacking, dual wielding. You didn't have to worry about health anymore. It was just shield. Your health recharged. Um, so many new weapons and things like that. And then you go back to Halo 1 and none of that is there. You have to worry about your health. You don't have hijacking, so when you deal with a vehicle, you have to blow it up or kill the pilot. You can't hijack it. There's no dual wielding. All these different weapons are gone. Things like that. And it's like my biggest example is Saints Row 3. I loved it so much. I loved Saints Row the Third, and I saw Saints Row 2 for cheap, and I was like, I gotta get it. I played about 10 minutes before I quit because the controls were just so backwards and awful. Like I tried to back up when I was in a car. So, what control do you usually think of to back up in a car?
Left trigger.
I did that. It threw a grenade in front of the car and blew me up.
Wow.
The backup button was B, which is normally handbrake or drift.
All right. Well, we should wrap this up. So anything you'd like to say before?
Uh, Nothing I can really think of. Just that, again, graphics don't matter. What matters to me is gameplay and story. I'm a huge story person. That's why games that are fun, I could play for a while, but I'm not gonna like fall in love with it unless it has a great story. Like I've played the original Doom, and I just don't care. I've played it off and on every now and then. I play like a level and then I'm done because I don't care. There's no story. There's no real progression. It's just the next level. There's nothing to it. and it's fun for like 10 minutes, and then I stop caring. You know, you ever had a game like that where like it's fun for a little while?
Yeah, I've had that. Well, then to wrap this up, I shall say good night, and I shall see you all later.
Yep. You think we'll ever do this again?
I hope so. It was fun.
Yeah, I think this was fun. Maybe eventually, maybe sometime we might even have a guest or something like that after a couple of these. Who knows? And if we eventually get like super popular, we might get other like YouTubers on here that are like people that have like 100 subs. That'd be a cool thing to do though. Like
Actually,
reach
if
out to
I
other small
yeah, if I ever
YouTubers.
did become big, I would reach out to the lesser known ones.
Yeah, I
I just
that'd be really cool though. Like if we get to like 1,000 subscribers or something like that, and we start like reaching out to other ones that are like really small, or maybe even like smaller than us. That we just like find them and it's like, hey, you're pretty good, and give them a little attention. You know, because that'd be a great
well,
way to like give some like put these little guys in the spotlight because I know personally it's hard to get people to notice you on YouTube.
it really is.
Yeah, considering like for you it's an even bigger example because mine like every now and then I get a view and like I have a video that has almost 1,000 views though
Well, the difference
it's
between me and you is I'm
mine's
doing this for fun.
gameplay.
I'm doing this for fun. I'm not doing it because I actually care that people watch. I'm just doing this to get my opinions out. I might do gameplay someday. I don't know, but I'm doing this just to get, get my word out.
Well, I'm doing it for fun too, but at the same time, it's like I could play these games without recording, and I wouldn't care. I enjoy playing games without talking to myself. I'll like play completely silent until I get angry, and then I start yelling. um, but what's more interesting with recording it is that it's like having someone there, someone you're talking to about the game, and like just telling all these things. So it feels like you got a friend there and things like that. And I know that's how some people feel like when they watch like Let's Plays. It feels like you're
I,
watching a friend play it, and it's such a different feeling to know that when you like look at a video and see how many views it has, and you just see like each one of these views is a different person that watched this.
well, one person that watched it 140 times.
That was just you messing with me,
I
refreshing
got
the stupid page over and over and over.
I got bored,
But
and
still,
now
like other videos that I have that have like a ton of them, or like a decent amount, like eight, nine. I look at them and I'm like, that is 8 different people that have watched this, and that's incredible to me because
uh,
I don't even know 8 people.
well, to all you people who are still listening, despite the fact we were going to close it out but got distracted. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Thank you for listening to us ramble on for God knows how long about God knows what. We don't even remember.
We just talk for talking. I mean, it's not just the fun part.
Yep.
Uh,
Well, thanks for having me here.
no problem. Come anytime.
Um, I don't think that's something we should be talking about on here. I mean, our private lives don't need to come in on that. That's something you do behind closed doors.
Oh wait, I prefer an open door. It's more interesting that way.
We don't want to know about that.
We should
That's the
stop this.
video. That's the videos we record for a whole nother site.
Okay, we need to stop this before it goes downhill any further.
Yeah, we should probably put a stop to that train of thought right
No.
there. We'll let the people out there imagine.
Now, once more, good night, and I shall see you all later.
Bye bye.